Okay, folks, so I want to share these couple of different articles here on China cheating on their going green efforts. And this one here talks about China sees red after mining company paints bare hillsides green. Yeah, it says here, drone footage exposes firm's botched attempt to improve the appearance of ground stripped of vegetation. This is coming from the South China Post. Authorities in central China are investigating a mining company that stripped a series of hillsides and then painted the bare ground green in an attempt to improve appearances and control dust. The Natural Resources and Planning Bureau in Sanmenxia Province, there we go, Henan Province, said in an outline statement on Thursday that it would punish without leniency those responsible for the greening project. Right. I think it's kind of curious because in the World Economic Forum's report here on the Global Risks Report, they put out a table showing all the different countries and their amount of pollution and stuff, and it's kind of interesting to see. The authorities were spurred into action by drone footage posted online by news video channel Lichi News on Wednesday, showing the bare hillsides covered in the green coating. The report said the video was taken by a visitor to the city. There's an image there. The company reportedly painted some of the hillsides about a month ago, but stopped because the results were disappointing. An employee at Jinjiang Mining, which owns the mining rights to the area, told the South China Morning Post that the substance was a dust control agent. Of course it was. Of course. Because they wouldn't do something as silly as that, right? We are now taking other measures to restore the damaged areas, he said, declining to elaborate. This is the only way I could print this out. This is how it printed out. Anyway, the Beijing News quoted staff as saying the company painted the rock green because it could not plant trees there. The work was done about a month ago, but the company stopped doing further hillsides because the effect is just not good. The main purpose is to make it look better. It was an experiment. It didn't work out. An unnamed staff member was quoted as saying, "Oh, we got busted. Didn't work out because we got busted, right?" A senior manager, identified only by his surname Chen, said, "This coating doesn't affect the growth of grass or damage existing vegetation." Internet users were divided over the greening effort, with some seeing it as a goodwill effort at dust control, while others were skeptical of the company's intentions. I think skeptical is spelled with K, isn't it? Maybe not. I don't know. Yeah. This kind of thing is to fool satellites. The authorities know it. They just turn a blind eye. Not enough greening? Paint it green, one commenter on Weibo said. Yeah. Interesting. I find it also very curious here that this particular article here, talking about the situation, says something here pretty interesting just in the first paragraph. A factory in eastern China's Shandong province has taken a literal approach to going green by covering the land around it with green spray paint in an unsuccessful bid to deceive environmental authorities. Yeah, in an unsuccessful bid to deceive environmental authorities. Well, I mean, if we look at there's this information here coming from the World Economic Forum, the Global Risks Report of 2023, and it talks a lot about global warming and about going green, and let's see, let me see if I can zoom in on that part right in there. There we go. Talks about large-scale involuntary migration right there too, and it's pretty interesting. We read just that 2.3 human health. It may also lead to large-scale involuntary migration, a new entrant in the top 10 rankings in the GRPS survey. Yeah, so they took a survey of all their little members in their little societies, and they came up with this list of the biggest risks, and each country has their own little list of their top 5 risks. And it's pretty interesting because Ukraine is on this list, Taiwan and China, and the U.S., and it's pretty interesting. Anyway, this part here, I'm going to read a little bit into this here. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I just want to point out that according to this report here, they showed some kind of a graph that shows China doing really well as far as going green, but maybe they painted enough stuff. They painted enough, so they were able to... Anyway, This article here talks, or actually, this is not an article. This is something coming direct from, this is a report coming direct from the World Economic Forum, folks. Yeah, insight report. Yeah, because we need their insight, right? New battlefronts between ecosystems and green energy sources. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit more here. There we go. The transition to clean energy is critical for the mitigation of climate change by reducing the carbon footprint of energy compared to fossil fuels. You know, why don't you do something about the climateers? That might help. When you got people that are intentionally changing the climate, yeah, that might have something to do with the accelerated rates, right? Yet the rapid expansion of green infrastructure in a quest for energy security may have unintended impacts on domestic and broader ecosystems, as the dependencies on and risks to natural ecosystems of these technologies are presently less well understood. You understand well enough. You understand well enough that you can feel that you can give some insight, right? Although renewable energy infrastructure can be nature positive, for example, wind farms acting as a safe haven for the recovery of marine populations and the seabed, green sources of energy can also cause environmental degradation, such as habitat loss, sound and electromagnetic pollution, introduction of non-indigenous species, and changes to animal migratory patterns. Yeah, because they've been releasing all kinds of trippy stuff into our water tables for decades, okay? They released a whole bunch of calcine-stained larvae into the Lake Mead water source reservoir several years ago, and then they took unmanned aerial vehicles and beamed it with UV light and imaged it out, and then tracked the migration of their little calcine-stained larvae, because their little calcine-stained larvae glowed in their little UV light beaming. There's a couple videos in my video content on that story of them like releasing all these calcine-stained larvae into Lake Mead years ago. Yeah, anyway. Renewable energy technologies are also reliant on non-renewable abiotic, natural capital, metals, and minerals are explored in Chapter 3, Resource Rivalries. Yeah, who's going to get control of the resources to make your renewable resources? It's so ridiculous, okay? These are sourced from the geosphere, which, together with the hydrosphere, provide the physical habitat for the global ecosystem. Yeah, and y'all don't have no right to be fucking around with it. These resources are often concentrated in countries with poor governance of a nascent, artisanal, and illicit mining, or less stringent environmental and social regulations, increasing the likelihood of more widespread destruction of nature and devastation of local communities and indigenous groups. Yeah, so now, you know, the World Economic Forum needs to go in and help these indigenous communities, right? So that they can mine their stuff safely, right? Ugh, these people are just sick. Yeah, mining of rare earth elements in Myanmar and the Democratic Republic of the Congo have already caused widespread deforestation, habitat destruction of endangered species, and water pollution, and have been linked to human rights abuses and financing of militia groups. While offering the possibility of socio-economic development and diversification, the expansion of green metals mining in nature-rich or ecologically sensitive areas, such as the plurinational state of Bolivia and Greenland, has the potential to destabilize water tables and disrupt ecosystems. Wasn't there some kind of talk about Trump buying Greenland or something, or doing something in Greenland? I can't remember. Yeah. The pressure to push ahead with deep-sea mining also entails significant risks due to the unknown impacts to critical oceanic ecosystems. Yeah, y'all have already messed it all up, right? It is clear that both the scale and pace needed to transition to a green economy require new technologies. However, some of these technologies, let's see, risk impacting natural ecosystems in new ways, with limited opportunity to field test results. Yeah, I think they've already been field testing it. The urgency of climate change mitigation is incentivizing the deployment of new technologies, potentially with less stringent testing and protocols. Yeah. That's what they're doing here in the U.S. They're issuing all of these incentives for everybody to go green and get all these solar panels and get all this green stuff going, knowing full well that it's not going to be reliable for very long. And in the end, it's going to really cost these people out here more than they know. Yeah. Carbon removal technologies will be particularly essential to achieve a net zero world if anthropogenic emissions do not sufficiently decline or emissions from natural resources continue to increase. Let me remind y'all, we are carbon-based beings, okay? We're carbon-based. So carbon removal technologies, think of what that has on the long-term effect on us carbon-based beings. To achieve a net zero world, these people are sick and just ridiculously retarded. Gene editing to enhance natural carbon capture productivity, geoengineering for carbon removal, and solar radiation management all pose major future risks, from enhanced water stress, nutrient robbing, and redistribution of diseases to termination shock, and the weaponization of stratospheric aerosol technologies, weather warfare. Unintended consequences relating to technological edits to the atmosphere. That's an interesting way to put it. Yeah, unintended consequences relating to technological edits. That's what I'm going to refer to all of this going on here, is they're just doing some technological edits to the atmosphere. Biosphere, hydrosphere, and geosphere can occur at speed, raising the risk of accidental extinction events. Accidental extinction events. You don't say. Really? Oh, so, you know, we just accidentally, like, killed a bunch of people when we were accidentally testing these things, right? I mean, just, like, somebody make it make sense at some point. It's just something else to me. But there's a table here. Yeah, there's another, interesting topic here, too, that's talking about human security, new weapons, new conflicts. And I want to read a little bit into that too, but I wanted to show y'all, this is some of the breakdown here. These are the different countries, and it shows them like individual here. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit and get this to come into focus. There we go. Like, they have all of these different countries all like separated, and each country has their own risk, their own top 5 risks, right? And it does kind of vary depending on the territory. Like, for instance, like Saudi Arabia here, their number 1 risks identified by the Executive Opinion Survey, the EOS. This is the Executive Opinion Survey. This is where World Economic Forum's executives, as they have called themselves, have decided what the top 5 risks are for every country. Okay? Yeah. Number 1 in Saudi Arabia is the cost of living crisis. Number 2 is interstate conflicts. Number 3 is rapid and or sustained inflation. Number 4, severe commodity price shocks. Oh wait, no, that's the severity maybe. Or no, that's a freaking typo. Oh, they got 6. Look at that. Some of these have 6 things listed. Isn't that special? Yeah, severe commodity price shocks, breakdown of critical infrastructure, failures of cybersecurity measures. Well, that's kind of curious. Some of these have 6. Qatar has 6 too. 6 listed there for Qatar too. 1, 2, 3. Oh no, wait, they have 7. So I guess it kind of varies. I'm just curious. I want to show y'all too. There's the Ukraine listed there. They have 5 listed for Ukraine. Severe commodity supply crisis, interstate conflict, large-scale involuntary migration, failure of cybersecurity measures, and automation and displacement of jobs. Automation and displacement of jobs in Ukraine? Okay. Yeah. And then, let's see, there's the UK in Britain. Let's see, that's this one here. They have a bunch listed too. They got 7. Cost of living crisis, debt crisis, rapid and or sustained inflation, failures of climate change adaptation. Y'all been failing at your climate change adaptations. Terrestrial biodiversity loss and ecosystem collapse. Interstate conflict. Asset bubble burst. That's what y'all got. That's what they assess y'all as having in their executive opinion survey in the World Economic Forum. Yeah, okay, so here is, here's the U.S. I'll cover the U.S. here really quick. The U.S. has debt crisis, rapid and or sustained inflation, geoeconomic confrontation, cost of living crisis, and failure of climate change adaptation. All the freaking cloud seeding and all the incentives and all the crap that we got going on here, and we've failed to meet our climate change adaptation according to their little agreements that they have. Let's see, Venezuela. There we go. Venezuela has severe commodity supply crisis, collapse of services and public infrastructure, state collapse, rapid and or sustained inflation, geoeconomic confrontation, prolonged economic stagnation. Wow. And digital inequality. Digital inequality in Venezuela. Yeah, this report is pretty interesting. I think that it's curious. I should have looked a little bit closer to find the graphs, because I know that there was a graph that they showed in here that was like all the different countries and like their advancements in going green and all of that. And yeah, I do want to read a little bit more. Yeah, they talk about the oh, let me get it right up on there. Let's see if I can get it on there. Yeah, they talk about the human health, perma-pandemics, and chronic capacity challenges. That's kind of interesting paragraph there, too. Let's see, where did the rest of this go? Yeah. I want to read a little bit more into that, too, what they were talking about as far as involuntary migration, too. Yeah, I'm not sure. It might have been in another file. I'm wondering if it wasn't in another file. Sorry. It might have been in a different file. Yeah. That goes into the national risks perceptions. Oh, yeah. Okay, wait. This might be it here. Yeah, the failure. This is the little map here. Let me zoom out just a little bit. There we go. The failure of climate change adaptation. And in their little thing here, they have their little ranking thing here. And number 1 is the red, and then the lighter color is 30. Well, look at. I mean, this is what they've decided in their assessment of who has failed at climate change adaptation, right? So now you gotta implement more of your climate change, combat climate change, right? Anyway, I thought that was kind of curious, this article about China spray painting their alongside of their roads and stuff, because it did say something about that. Oh yeah, there's another one set images that they're showing that spray the rocks. But I think it's really curious because they also, I don't know, I'll have to look at that video again, but there was also images and video showing the steel rods sticking up out of the ground with rocks on the top of them too. So anyway, I thought that was kind of curious. I thought y'all might get a little chuckle out of that. Maybe, I don't know. Some of this coming from the World Economic Forum. Really, is it all that funny when we're seeing a lot of this stuff playing out almost exactly how they have planned it? And that's, if we look at the details, it's kind of a little bit alarming, really. I do wish that they would give up on this whole global force for good. I mean, our military and those in charge of our national security have talked, about how there's this global force for good, where they're like the world's heroes, and enough is enough. We don't need to be the world's heroes. The world doesn't need another hero. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of them exploiting and using that as an excuse to go around perpetrating baddies on the rest of the world and then blaming other people too. And some might say they don't happen, but I think that it does. I really do. I really do believe that they do perpetrate baddies and then blame it on other people. And I don't like these balloons that's been drifting over the U.S. lately. There's 2 balloons that's been up for going on 4 days now. And I don't know. I'm not comfortable with it. It's unsettling knowing that they're there. And it's unsettling knowing that our so-called leaders and people in charge of our conservation and what's going on out here in the West seem like maybe they're being influenced by these people here who offered up their little insight report. And it's a little bit unsettling. But anyway, thank you for watching. There's definitely more to come if I can help it. I'm going to be uploading some more videos on the aquapets, and then also some more videos of the stars and some of the lights in the sky. So thank you for watching. Know that I appreciate you and that you matter very much to me.